Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined alongside Jack Weinberger and Robert Ziggy Ziegler. Not sure what the order of the mailbag and preview show releases are going to be, but for the mailbag, Ziggy was technologically challenged for that episode and could not make it. So you could actually hear at some point, a challenge to people who go and check it out. You could hear Ziggy calling Jack and I at various parts of the episode to say, hey, I fixed my issue. I'm ready to go. We were about halfway done with the mailbag.
Yeah, it was. You were halfway done. You told me, "Hey, we're wrapping it up," and then went for another like half hour and change.
Oh well, you know, Paul. Halfway for Paul is.
I know.
You know,
I trust what Paul was to say because he's got that trustworthy look about him, and he's never honest.
I am very poor with my punctuality.
Paul runs on Central Time, Ziggy.
It's truthfully, yeah. If you set a clock in half an hour back, then I'm probably in better shape for everything.
I mean, me too.
So
I was in the middle of a point and I heard my phone buzzing. I'm like, oh, who might that be? I was hoping it was a girl or someone, but
it was even better.
Even better. It was even better.
All right. Week 2 preview show today. We got top 10 teams we're going through, and we're going to do an interesting top 10 where we each pick one at a time. So it's not Paul's list. It's not Jack's. It's not Ziggy's. It's the collective shows. And there's a chance that, the Paul Farrington Show top 10 looks very different from what any of us individually would like that list to look like. We're going to go through teams that can prove us right or wrong this weekend. We got Zig or Zag, game picks, Jack Cap of the week. That sounds like a 3-hour show.
I mean, that's pretty loaded.
This sounds like a 3-hour show here. It is packed to the brim. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying what you've heard so far. Check out all of our week 1 stuff from before. If you can't check us out on YouTube, we are always on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And how about the Pick'em League? In week 1, a shout out to Patrick Williams, who is 14-2, sole possession of first place in the Pick'em League, but right on his trail at 13-3, producer Zach and a horde of other people. 13-3, producer Zach out of the woodworks. He's who knows? Maybe that's what he's doing when he's out. He's just studying game film over and over.
And he's nailing anytime touchdown bets.
Anytime touchdown.
He helps some fans out with that too.
Secretly, might be the smartest football mind in this country.
Maybe he is.
Maybe.
Well, second outside of me.
Well, I'm sitting there 11-5. Ziggy, you are 8-8.
Yep, 8-8. I'm near the bottom.
Well, that's just a horrendous record for money line picks. What about Jack?
I'm 9-7.
Oh,
so not much better.
All right, everyone, and remember to check out our merch store.
Thank God the Falcons.
So, did you have? You did? No way.
I might have. I forget. I don't know.
You deserve worse than 9-8 if you're picking against your own team, especially Falcons. So let's start off, though, with the top 10 power rankings. As we said before, what we're going to do, we're each going to do one team at a time. I will start off with the number 10 team on this list. So we're going to try and keep it as close to our list individually as possible, but we'll wind up with one collective list at the end, and we'll see who goes out of their way to make some chaos here. I'm assuming Jack will have some teams a little bit overrated, but you never know.
Well, we're number 1. Pittsburgh's number 1. With that defense.
So here we go. Number 10. I'm going to go with the number 10 team. I was close between 2. I was between the Buccaneers and the Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams, even though the Bucs looked great. I know
games don't matter, folks.
Even though the Bucs looked great against the Commanders, I thought that the Rams going into Detroit, I mean, that's a road game against a top 2, maybe the best NFC team. Matt Stafford looked good. Puka's out for a little bit, which hurts, but Cooper Kupp, nice bounce back for him. I think if the Rams and Bucs played on neutral field right now, the Rams win that football game. So I'm going with the Rams. Games don't matter.
So games don't matter. It doesn't matter if you lose your best wide receiver and your entire offensive line. If Paul thinks you're good and you lose the game, that's way more impressive.
Good. I like Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFC.
I was impressed by them being down 14 on the road. Hostile environment.
No Puka.
And coming close to winning. They almost played a competitive game.
But I understand where Paul's coming from. Like, if the Rams play Tampa neutral field, are you not taking the Rams to win that game?
The Rams are not in my top 20 with these injuries.
Good. Goodness gracious. Wow. All right. So immediately we disagree on. All right. I'm looking forward.
Hey, that's the segment.
That's the game. That's the segment. That's the game, Ziggy. We're just playing. All right. So Jack, the Rams are at 10 on this list. Who's number 9?
Number 9, I'm going Northern Illinois. Massive.
Uncalled for.
Number 9, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Previously come into, before week 1, I had them a little bit higher. As I said in the mailbag, they got the win. I was a bit underwhelmed. I didn't think they looked great. I know it's week 1, but it took a while for them to kind of get going. They never really seemed to, but they come away with the win. The talent's top 10, so I'm going to put them at number 9. Miami.
Okay, Rams and then Dolphins. And hey, Jack, take a look at this right here. Actually, I don't want you to see my list, but let's just say I think that's a really good pick.
Oh, I've seen your list before.
All right, Robert.
It's quite nice.
Okay, all right. Mr. Ziegler at 8.
Well, as a Minnesota Vikings fan, I can be the first to tell you that while winning a game is great, winning a game by a lot is even better. And, winning by a lot against a great team obviously feels good, but winning by a lot against a bad team counts for a whole lot too. It's hard to win NFL games by double digits. It's even harder to win NFL games by 17 points. So they absolutely belong here with one of the best, most efficient quarterback performances of the week, with a solid defense, with a guy who passed for 4 touchdowns. Give me Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield.
Okay. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. 28-6 doesn't add it up to 17 there.
I was about to say, like, who is this guy?
Okay, so we're gonna have a little bit of chaos here. And
I like the Bucs too. I think they're gonna win the division again.
I would have put the Bucs on my list. They probably would have come in at 9, but I've got the Dolphins at 8. So it's just a neat little switcheroo right there.
Yeah, no, I think the Bucs, you can easily argue them up there. We said they were one of the big winners of week 1, given their performance, Baker specifically, and then Atlanta struggling. Did you see Baker talking about Mike Evans having to be a cheat code, just throwing it up?
Yeah, he's like, if he's not double and throwing it up to him.
He's like, yeah, he said it's basically cheating.
He's making a play.
Mike Evans, I mean, dude, how long is that guy? How many seasons now, Ziggy, with 1,000 yards year after year? To 8? It's just
every single one.
Unbelievable career for Mike Evans. All right, that brings it back to me at 7. See, I don't like this because I had the Bucs at 11. Now I feel like this is a little out of control here. I'm going to go now. Okay, I'm going to go at 7, the Houston Texans.
That's why I had at 7 as well.
I'm gonna go Texans at 7. I'm bumping my number 8 team out of the top 10. I won't say it for now. So I'll put the Texans at 7 here. A great win, great road win against the Colts, who probably will miss out on the playoffs this year, but are sort of in that mix for a wild card. Maybe even the AFC South, depending on how big of a leap Anthony Richardson takes. But defense looked good. Will probably get better. The pass rush will get home more than it did against Indy. And so many weapons, just so many weapons. And Ziggy's favorite player in the league, Joe Mixon, just an absolute monster in week 1. I think that Texans team is deserving of the 7 spot.
You know how nice it is for me having Stroud and Mixon on fantasy?
It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, it was just
beautiful.
It's miraculous. I don't think anybody's beating.
You're a great football mind.
I might be the best ever.
Outside of producer Zach.
I think I'm better than producer Zach.
All right, this is you now.
Producer Zach gets lucky.
I'm kind of loving this segment.
I was kind of upset with the Texans. Like, who wins doesn't cover. You might as well just lose.
Well, in your book,
I'd bump them down. They were like my 9 or 10.
Winning is hard, Jack. Winning, to quote Shamrock Sports from our ND days, winning is hard.
No, if you win, you cover. Number 6. I'm going to go Philly. I'm going to go Philly at number 6. I thought Green Bay was going to win this game. Green Bay got off to a good start, up 6-0 early, turning Jalen Hurts over. I was impressed with how Jalen Hurts played the last 3 quarters. A big time bounce back from the end of last year and the first quarter in this game. Saquon Barkley.
What did they do?
I mean, better than anybody could have expected. I'm going to go, if this team is right back to where they were 2 years ago, Super Bowl contender, throwing them at number 6.
I think there were some things to worry about. The Jalen Hurts interceptions weren't good. The fact that the tush push didn't look great is a little bit worrying. But I totally agree with where the Eagles are landing here. They won a tough game on a field that was obviously tough against a very good team, and that has to count for something.
Totally with you. The concerns, the defense too, got torn up on the ground again. That carries over from last season, the second half of the year. But the talent is unavoidable when you're watching. You can't miss it. It's all over the place. And Jalen Hurts, despite the PFF grade, you know Jalen Hurts' PFF grade, Jack, you weren't here for the episode, was 29, 27.
Yeah,
on PFF.
29.
I thought the last 2 full quarters he was really good.
I thought their offense looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
then to close out the game with a 7-minute drive.
The start was rough. Like the start,
yeah, I mean, interception, fumble is a brutal game.
Yeah.
That's a bad way to start.
That's as bad as it gets. But the last 2.5 quarters, I thought he was very good.
He finished them. I mean, he ended the game. They couldn't get it back. And on third down, I feel like Jalen Hurts is really good on third. I mean, I don't know if the numbers support this, but Ziggy will find it out here. But on third down,
I'm just saying, you know what the Eagles were on third down conversions that game?
No, I know. I'm gonna say the stats probably won't support me, but I thought he made a lot of big. Maybe it wasn't just third down, but when they were like second and long situations, it just felt to me like he was making a lot of plays with his legs and putting them in position to either attempt the sneak or whatever.
If they had converted 3 more third downs, they would have converted 50% of their third downs. They were 4 for 14.
Yeah, all right. So 4 for 14.
Hey, Green Bay was 3 for 11.
Yeah, I mean,
they were about the same rate.
But I thought he set up a lot of tush pushes and just made a lot. I thought he made a lot of clutch plays. So how about 5, Ziggy?
Speaking of teams that won by a lot, how about a team that won by 37? No, I'm kidding. I can't.
I was about to lose my mind if he had the same.
I think this is a great spot to slot in a team that didn't win by a lot, that actually had to go to overtime to win their game. I think number 5 is right where the Detroit Lions belong. Things looked good for them in some ways, right? The rebuilt secondary looked good. The rushing game was excellent. Jamison Williams had 121 yards, which was awesome. There was a lot to be excited about. You worry that Jared Goff wasn't elite. He just looked fine. You worry a little bit about Laporta and Amon-Ra not having big games, but that kind of stuff happens. You got it done at home in a revenge angle against a good team. And I think there are a lot of reasons to be excited about them this year. 5 is exactly where I'd put the Lions.
So they're at 5, but the Rams don't crack your top 20? What are you talking about?
Well, the Rams, it's because of injuries, but those injuries happen throughout the game.
I had Detroit at 3, so now I kind of have a decision to make here on the number 4 spot, which is between 2 teams. And I actually previously ranked one team higher than the other, but I'm going to flip it here. I'm going to put the Baltimore Ravens at 4 right now. Even though they lost, I know that now that's 2 teams I picked who have lost their week 1 game. But Baltimore in Kansas City, Lamar Jackson, really not a great game as a passer, to Jack's delight and to Jack's point that he's made throughout the years. But he ran the ball really well. Isaiah Likely had a great performance. The defense, I believe the defense will continue to get better. Just a lot of penalties for Baltimore too. So many on those opening couple drives with the new rules. I just think that Lamar's a top 4, top 3 quarterback in football, and I'll take him over most guys any day of the week. So I had the Ravens at 4.
He's a top 3 running back in football.
Top 3,
and he showed
he might be. He actually might be,
and he showed that on Thursday night. He's a great running back. He can't throw the ball though. He can't throw the ball for shit.
Were you okay with that ranking, Ziggy? Ravens at 4?
Yeah, that's exactly where I would put them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good spot. And I think we nailed the top 3.
Well, hold on. It's not done yet.
I mean, we have a general.
We can assume.
Sure, making an inference. I'll make an inference. But number 3, I'll put Kansas City. I thought there were.
Are you kidding?
There were 2 teams that look better than Kansas City to me.
What are we doing here?
There are 2 teams that look better than KC.
Kansas City.
Is that a crime?
This might be Jack's worst take in the history of the show.
Defending Super Bowl champions who beat the Ravens at home.
We're talking week 2 power rankings of 2025.
Yeah, here's my power ranking. How about beating a top 4 team?
There were 2 teams I thought looked better than the Chiefs.
God. I'm just going to put this graphic out as our, we have a new graphic that we can put out.
Can you take my name off this ranking?
I don't.
You're telling me that 2 teams didn't look better than Kansas City?
No.
They got crack.
I thought the Chiefs were clearly going to be the number 1 spot here.
I think you can justify them at 2. I don't think you can justify them at 3.
I think you absolutely can.
I don't think.
I think that the Chiefs are great. I don't think Mahomes looked great.
I don't know, man. Their defense played very well for most of that game. They showed that they have new explosive weapons.
You know, you've been saying all offseason Baltimore's overrated. We all know they're overrated. But
Baltimore changed my mind. They went into Kansas City. They showed the defense is good. They played a competitive game.
Kansas City isn't that good.
Good God. All right. We go to two.
But they were an inch away from going OT. There are two teams that looked better than Kansas City to me. I cross my heart, hope to die.
I mean, okay, it's going to me at this is 2.
Yeah, this is you.
I hate to do this because this team looked like they were about to lose to a team that's a borderline wild card team, certainly not a Super Bowl contender, but ultimately they won the game, and I believe in the quarterback, so I will have to take them. At 2, I'm putting the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen looked good for much of the game.
Wait, so we don't have Dallas
whoa.
We don't have Dallas or San Fran.
I liked Buffalo more than I like Dallas. I've got 2 teams I can pick from.
Wait, no. We got to chalk this segment. That's hard.
No. This segment's going live. This is chaos. Look, here's the fact. As long as Josh Allen is playing, you can beat anybody. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. He could have had 3 rushing touchdowns. You know how many players in NFL history have had more games than passing and rushing with multiple passing and rushing touchdowns than Josh Allen?
How many?
0. Josh Allen now shares the record with Steve Young. This guy is playing like the best quarterback in the NFL. The defense they weren't great, but I believe it will continue to get better. I believe in Josh Allen more than I believe in any other quarterback besides Patrick Mahomes.
I just need to get this straight.
So now we have Dallas and San Fran. One's not in the top 10. I mean, that's crazy.
I need to get this straight between the two of you. So Jack, your top 3 were 49ers, Cowboys,
Chiefs. Yes.
What was your top 5, Ziggy?
49ers, Chiefs, Bills, Cowboys, Lions.
Wow. See, I had the Bills at
Texans at 6.
I put the Bills at 11. They're outside my top 10.
See, I don't know how you come to I'm not saying that mine was obviously the best power. I feel like mine is defensible. I don't know.
So here at the number 1 spot, I had 5 Cowboys or 5 who'd I have? I had 5 Cowboys, yes. 5 Ravens, 4 Cowboys, 3 Lions, 2 49ers. Then I had the Vikings in the 1 spot. You know, after a dominant win over the Giants, Sam Darnold looked like an MVP caliber player. Justin Jefferson as good as ever. The defense flying around. Van Ginkel, defensive touchdown. Flores has that team ready to roll. No, the number 1 spot. So I had the Chiefs at number 1, but I guess now I have to put the 49ers as number 1 here.
The Cowboys so correct.
The 49ers are the correct team to put at 1.
The best team in the Cowboys are the best team in the league.
And we leave the Cowboys at 11 here. That's the segment. That's the segment.
But just so for the sake that people don't think we're complete morons, we all have Dallas in our top 5.
It's just the way
all of us just happen to have a team we liked more than Dallas right there. And that's what's so fun about the rotating format, right? Is you're at the mercy of whoever comes next to make the decision. Like leaving Buffalo outside of the top 10 would have been terrible too. But Dak Prescott had a way worse day than Josh Allen.
Not inexplicable. What you did there was inexplicable.
I had Dallas at 1. Dallas was my number 1.
I love how Jack goes Chiefs at 3. Ziggy and I sit here and go, what the hell is wrong with you? And Ziggy follows it up with an even more ridiculous claim.
That's just not true.
Well, that's what
Buffalo
I was saying.
2 is a great spot to be. That's where they belong.
Oh my God. Like our 3, consensus. I was thinking it was Niners, Cowboys, Chiefs. But hey.
Yeah.
Ziggy's a football mind.
There's the segment. So here we go. The Rams at 10, the Dolphins at 9, the Bucs at 8, 7, the Texans, 6, Eagles, 5, Lions, 4, Ravens, 3, Chiefs, 2 Bills, 1, the San Francisco 49ers. That's your top 10 teams right there.
I mean, let's be real.
Cowboys.
Every team that we've got in the top 5 has a better chance of winning a playoff game than the Cowboys.
Probably true.
If the Cowboys go into Cleveland, beat them by like 20 as 2-point favorite,
awesome.
They don't crack our top 10.
Hey, sorry, Dallas.
They crack all of our top 5s individually. I show's top 10.
I've been down on this Browns team all year. I don't think this win is all that impressive. I think you could justify in power rankings putting the Browns at 32.
Honestly, same. They stink.
The only team they're in competition was the Carolina Panthers, but at least the Panthers don't owe Bryce Young $200 million.
They were my 27th, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, so like compare that to beating an impressive, strong Cardinals team on the backs of Superman. Yeah, okay.
All right, so there you go. They're the power ranking segment. We'll go on to. I like that. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I was like, nobody else in the entire NFL media landscape. Honestly, nobody else in the world has that as their top 10.
No, literally the world, because nobody else has Dallas outside the top 10.
All right, here we have the prove me right, prove me wrong segment coming up here. So in this segment, we're going to say a team or player, mostly a team, who can prove us right this weekend with our take from earlier in the year, or who can prove us wrong in week 2. Ziggy, why don't we throw it over to you for your prove me right first?
Prove me right. This is a player that the Paul Farrington show for well over a year has been extremely high on, and he's coming up on a big test, and that is Anthony Richardson. The Packers will be starting Will Levis. And excuse me, not Will Levis. They will be starting Malik Willis. Malik Willis is bad Anthony Richardson. He's Anthony Richardson who can't rush and can't pass. What does that mean? That means that if you want to be a guy who can take your team to the playoffs, if you want to be a guy who can compete for a wild card spot, compete for the division, show that you can be an NFL QB, you have to win this game. Putting up a loss to Malik Willis is like putting up a loss to Kendall Hinton when the Broncos played him. Like, the guy's not a quarterback. He's an emergency quarterback at best. I don't care who's coached him. I don't care who's around him. So Anthony Richardson has a chance to show that the performance against the Texans wasn't a fluke and that he is the guy for the Colts by going out and winning this game.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. In a game without Malik Willis or without Jordan Love, if the Colts lose this, I think every Indianapolis fan has the right to sit back and say, what the hell's going on here? This is a game you have to win. And
you're Ziggy, we know he's a big Colts guy. That's a good prove me right segment.
What? That pick?
Yeah, the pick.
Well, the thing I like about this prove me right is if he loses this, I will be proven wrong. Like, that's a huge problem if Anthony Richardson looks terrible in this game. If they lose and they score like 35 points, that's one thing, right?
Yeah, if Malik
they look bad.
Completely agree with you. And it's something where the Packers, too, what's kind of funny about this game is Packers fans are looking at this one and saying, okay, if Love's back in 3 weeks, like, this is one maybe that we can seal. And I think Colts fans are on the other side of this saying, oh my God, Jordan Love's out. Like, has to be the win. Malik Willis, 1-2 career record, 3 interceptions, never thrown a touchdown pass. Like, this is a Packers defense that a Colts defense that allowed 159 yards to Joe Mixon last week. So if you're a Green Bay fan, you're probably hoping that Josh Jacobs can get going on the ground. But it's hard to put too much faith in Malik. It really is for this week.
Yeah, this is the game if you're Indy off that close loss too. A game where you obviously felt like you could have had Houston beat a big divisional opponent week 1. Now you get Green Bay with their backup quarterback.
It's not even a prove-it game. It's like against a good team. No, it's like a game that
you have to go and win. Yes,
totally agree. How about you, Jack? A prove you right. Who's someone who can prove you right this weekend?
So I'm not gonna lie. I was down and out the last 3 days. I was pretty sick. I had a pretty bad cold. I was coughing. I had a headache. It was tough to function. It's good to be back. To prove, I haven't really looked at the week 2 slate too much, but prove me right. I
feel like you can easily ride this Caleb Williams.
It's the easiest pick in the world.
I was going to say Bengals.
I think that you saying Caleb Williams is bad is the easiest ever.
But isn't that prove me wrong?
Or Justin Fields being good.
Yeah, Justin Fields being good. Or if Caleb Williams is bad against the Texans,
isn't that prove me wrong?
No, you're saying like I can get proved right if the Texans shut down Caleb Williams. I guess prove you. I think it'd be prove you right.
I don't know. I was saying Justin Fields here. If Justin Fields looks good,
it's Jack. It's Jack's call.
I was thinking I said Caleb's terrible. Well, prove me wrong.
I like that more. I like that.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So that's what I was going. with.
This is what we get, Ziggy, for hijacking Jack's segment here.
Yeah, man. Sorry if I'm taking a little bit of a different course here, but
please.
I was going to go prove me right, please. Cincinnati Bengals, because this was a team who I picked on, not too long ago, a couple of shows ago, who I picked to go to the Super Bowl.
Good God.
Who I said was the biggest challenge to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I said that because they have a quarterback in Joe Burrow who's been the only quarterback who's shown he can go and beat Patrick Mahomes. Nobody else has done that. So I said, all right, he's healthy now. Cincinnati, that's Kansas City's biggest challenge. Let's throw him in the Super Bowl, because why not? 9-point home favorites week 1. They lose to arguably the worst team in football.
That everyone thought was bottom 5.
Yeah. And again, they never had a lead. So I'm going to say Cincinnati, week 2, please go and prove me right. And make me believe, once again, that you can play in the Super Bowl. You can be an AFC title favorite. If you respond off a home loss to the Patriots, and you lose again, I might chalk you up. That might be it.
That might be it. So yeah, we're done on. Didn't we say before the season started that, hey, the Bengals always get off?
No, they do. But
we always say that they're down, they're out, and then they always come back.
Yes, but the last 2 seasons after a bad start, they didn't lose home to the Patriots as 10-point favorites. That's horrible.
That was pretty.
So come on, prove me right. Prove me right.
Well, and I think
like it.
One thing you haven't had to worry about with this team that's here is this locker room feels like it's in trouble, right? Jamar Chase is unhappy. Joe Burrow is playing scared. Like, the vibes are not good in Cincinnati now that everybody has gotten paid. It's very different than it was a few years ago, right? It was just a bunch of guys trying to prove it. So when you've got big money on the line for Jamar Chase, and you've got a locker room that doesn't seem like it's connecting, and then you have a miserable loss, losing to the Chiefs here and starting 0-2, I think would set a bad tone for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but what's going to happen? They're playing the Chiefs. It's probably going to go.
You can win the game. You can win the game and erase all doubt.
Yep, you could.
Oh yeah, like if they win this game,
everything changes. Immediately.
They're back.
The favorites.
They're back to my AFC title favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. So they prove Jack right.
Yeah.
That's the point of the segment, Paul.
It's a good segment. I think I have one that sticks out. There's 2 that stick out to me here, but I believe Ziggy's going to go with one of my teams and as his prove me wrong. So I'll chime in there when we get to that point. I'm going to go with the Bucs at the Lions. A couple weeks ago in the predictions, I said I couldn't believe it that I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers returning to the playoffs. This was before they went out and crushed the Commanders. I think a lot of people were seeing regression for Tampa Bay. They felt that the playoff teams were kind of set in the NFC between like the 49ers, Lions, Cowboys, and let's say the Falcons. And then your wild cards were pretty much the Rams, the Packers, and the Eagles. I think most people thought those 7 teams were by far the best. But I had the Bucs making the playoffs, and with the way they looked in week 1, I really felt good about that pick. Now they go into Detroit. Antoine Winfield's banged up. They lost to Bryce Hall, their cornerback. But Baker played so well in that game. 4 touchdowns, really no mistakes. He threw for 289 yards. Mike Evans was good again. I think that this is a chance for them to avenge that playoff loss and really put their foot down as one of the better teams in the NFC, where I think we still view them as a good team, a wild card team. But last year, they could never really beat those powerhouses. They would get murdered by Detroit. They would get murdered by basically all the good teams they played until they got Philly, when Philly was in that spiral. So I'm going to go with the Bucs. I'm going to say, hey, prove me right. Show me that you're a playoff team, but show me that you're a little bit more than just a playoff team. And go in there and beat Detroit. Avenge that loss last season. It's a huge ask, but I think it's one that they could shut up a lot of people with a win.
You know what's funny is the Lions' first 2 games are revenge spots from the 2 teams they knocked out last year.
And what a way for Detroit to start if they win them both, right?
Yeah.
Put your foot down, get the hell out.
Get them both back. All right, we're better than you are. But I totally agree. I mean, if Tampa, I know it's week 1, and we have the week 1 overreactions, and I do it every year. But I think I just switched my stance on who I believe is going to be the NFC South champion. After week 1. They're my guys. But I picked Atlanta. I'm going back to Tampa. I think Baker Mayfield's solid. I think Mike Evans is the cheat code. One of the better receivers in football. This team looked really solid in what I thought would be a closer game. Now, if they can go into Detroit and take down a team who they hung with for the most part last year in the playoffs, in that loud stadium, in that good atmosphere, a team who everybody thinks is probably in the top 6 in all of football. If they go in there and win that game, it's like, wait a minute. What kind of noise can this Bucs team make? So I totally agree. That's a good pick.
Thank you.
Well, you know what Todd Bowles said they can take from last year's playoff loss to the Lions in a press conference
Fill
today?
me in, brother.
Absolutely nothing. That was his quote. He said they're just here to win.
I like that. I mean, I like that part saying
they're not fixating on the loss. They're just, it's the same thing. Like this has been the attitude in the building, right? It's what Carlton Davis said, right? They're just our next opponent. There's never any friends on the football field. Like they're here to play.
Yeah, it's a great spot for both teams, honestly, to make a statement in week 2. All right, prove me wrong. Let's go. Let's see. Who's someone who can prove you wrong? We kind of when Jack was going before, we sort of got all over the place.
Yeah, guys, I took a different approach here than you guys to the. It's like a different.
You know what? I think you took the correct. You know what? You took the correct approach.
You think so?
Because here I was saying, Jack, why don't you do this as your pick? And you said, slow down. I know what I'm doing here, and you delivered. I think brilliant pick.
I think both methods are fine.
Well, go ahead. Why don't throw it over to Jack? Who do you want to prove you wrong?
Well, I don't want him to prove me wrong because I would love to hit on this take. But in order to prove me wrong, this man, Caleb Williams, needs to be better.
Hold it. You'd love to hit on Caleb Williams?
I have. He's got the nail polish on nowadays. It's getting to me a little.
Anyone's game.
This guy is. He seems like he's fair game. Southern California boy.
All right.
There goes a Ziggy head nods.
All right. Caleb Williams.
No. Paul's sister Lauren is my wife. She's down here. I didn't realize. Okay. So to prove me wrong, Caleb Williams has to be better. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, guys. This dude kind of shocked me this week. I didn't think he could throw for 93 yards in a professional game. That's more than I thought he'd do. 14 for 29. I didn't think he could complete 14 passes at the NFL level in one game.
Packers fans are loving this. Vikings fans are loving this. Bears fans are furious.
I think this guy is so bad, and it's just another example of a quarterback who looks flashy in college when he runs back 20 yards and finds Jordan Addison running with 20 yards of space, wide open, nobody on him. Just like another Johnny Manziel. Caleb, that doesn't fly in the National Football League. And we're getting a taste of that right now. And I don't understand what is it that I see that these NFL GMs just don't? I mean, this
what is it that the NFL GMs see that you don't?
What do I see? This man just comes out and goes 14 for 29, 90 yards, gets bailed up by the defense.
100% agree with you. Yes.
And there's no doubt Caleb Williams had a bad performance, but we saw last week.
I'm not shocked by it. And I'm honestly surprised he did as good as he did. I thought he'd be worse.
Though. He has a chance to prove you wrong.
Hey, if you come and bounce back, go and prove me wrong. But if you keep this up, I'm 100% right.
Well, we saw last week that the Houston Texans defense is very vulnerable to guys running around in the backfield, waiting a while, and then chucking it 60 yards downfield. Anthony Richardson got 2 touchdowns that way and almost got 3.
AR is better than Caleb.
That may well be true, but I am just saying if that's what Caleb Williams is good at, and that is one of the things he's good at, this is an interesting opportunity of a Texans secondary that gave up some huge plays last week. So he could prove us wrong or prove you wrong.
Over 10 yards a pass for Anthony Richardson in that week 1 game.
Look, maybe he proves me wrong. Maybe he will. Maybe he will.
Oh, it's a good take.
Maybe he will.
Ziggy, why don't we go over to you now? Who can prove you wrong this weekend?
Here's a team that has already proved me right, but could prove me wrong this weekend if they want to. The New York Jets.
That's my right. That was my prove me.
Yeah, you saw this team. Aaron Rodgers threw for 167 yards, a touchdown, and interception. We all know it was worse than that. Everybody who watches this game knows that the man just did not look like himself. He looked like beat up, aged, washed up Aaron Rodgers. And now he's playing a defense that did not give up a single passing touchdown. Now, admittedly, it's because they didn't give a single passing touchdown to Caleb Williams. But the Titans defense has a strong defensive line and a functional secondary. This could be a challenge. And if the Jets start 0-2, people were saying they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. There was a lot of hype. I was insisting all offseason that I thought the defense would not be able to get it done in carrying this team. And they'd look a lot worse than they did last year, and that the offense would not be successful. We saw a glimmer of that in the 49ers game. they've got to bounce back against the Titans, because if you start 0-2 with a loss to the Titans, you are not having a good season, my friend.
Yeah, I think this is the team I was going to say is my prove me right. I've been high on the Jets, had them as my AFC East division winner, which I'm not ruling that out because of a week 1 performance. I think the Bills showed some vulnerability, so did the Dolphins. But
if you start 1-1, you're in the running for the division.
100%. And Rodgers, he still had a few throws that you sat back and went, holy crap. I mean, that's a pretty football. It's just got to get a little more consistent. The worry for me was the defense. That defense just got chewed apart. And San Francisco's as good as they come in the NFL. But if they have a tough performance, and look, Sauce Gardner was still very good. I mean, the secondary actually still played fairly well. It was just, the chunk yards that Mason was picking up, that could be a problem. And Tennessee, Tony Pollard looked good. So it's a statement game. Honestly, I think more for the Jets defense than even Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, this is a Titans team too who lost. They lost by a touchdown, and they only allowed 150 yards of total offense. They didn't even cover plus 4.5. Like, that has to be studied. That seems impossible to me. So I mean,
Hey, Caleb Williams, man.
So, there you go. There you go. So, but yeah, the Jets to bounce back against the Titans team feels like an absolute necessity.
So my prove me wrong here, and this is a team that I think we all said stinks in the preview shows before the season started. But then they come out and spank the Carolina Panthers.
Look who they played.
I mean, and I know that's what I'm saying. The Saints, it was the Carolina, and we think Carolina looks like they're going to be really, really bad. Not just bad, really bad this season. But the Saints have an opportunity now going into Dallas, going into, not according to our top 10 list, the top 10 team, but probably a top 5 team in the NFL on the road. And Derek Carr looked really good. 19 for 23, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. If they go into Dallas and win that football game, all of a sudden now the Saints emerge as an NFC contender.
Yes.
And that's crazy. That could be the overreaction part. Are the Saints actually an NFC contender? And if they beat the Panthers by 40 and then beat Dallas on the road through 2 weeks, you have to say yes. This is a huge spot where I think they will get crushed. I really think Dallas will come in and beat them by double digits. But if this is a football game,
this is a great week to pick the Saints in your NFL survivor pools. And by the Saints, I mean the Cowboys. Because the spread's what, 6.5? This Saints team has no chance. You should have used them last week when they were playing the Panthers. This Saints team does not have a chance.
This is the prove me wrong. I mean, this is all of us wrong.
Look, I think they're going to get absolutely blown out.
As do I.
But if they want to win this game, it's like, wait a minute. You just beat a pro team by 40. Who, by the way, I think the Panthers are more of like a college team, but
they're not a college team.
Right.
They've got NFL players.
Right. They're a pro team. Like, to beat a team by 40 points, to go on the road to a Super Bowl contender and beat them, it's like, wait a minute. Look at the division this team plays in, the NFC South. These guys are suddenly the South favorites by a mile.
Yep. They picked defense, picked off Bryce twice, 4 sacks. Kamara looked good. Olave did nothing. And they won by 40. So
because he didn't have to. He was just chilling.
What's the spread Saturday night? Panthers at Georgia.
Probably
Panthers minus 14.5.
14.5 is.
Do you think Georgia covers?
All right, let's close up here. Let's close up here. We'll do. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do one overreaction that I think we all share. We'll do Zig or Zag, and then we'll do the game picks and cap because our clock is running a little. We have places to be now on this show. So
we've gotten kind of big. We've gotten kind of big.
Yeah. Okay. Ziggy and I were saying that this is like need a Packer win. The overreactions here. I've seen this a few times now across the sports media landscape this week. Kirk Cousins did not look good against the Steelers. And hey, I mean, part of that is TJ Watt. Jack and I were saying before the show, TJ Watt is just the best football player ever.
Might be the best ever.
Like TJ Watt is my pick right now for Defensive Player of the Year. And that was just what a performance against Atlanta. Kirk's a statue, sure, but he is just unbelievable. I mean, can you imagine being who are you playing this weekend? I'm sorry,
Denver.
Can you imagine being Bo Nix this week and watching film on TJ Watt from week 1? I'd just be shit.
Oh, if I'm Bo Nix, I'm not very worried because you knew on every single play whether the Falcons were passing or running. because they only played out of shotgun and pistol, and Kirk Cousins refused to turn his back to the defensive line. If you were TJ Watt, you could just tee up and get in the backfield without any trouble.
Yeah, so Ziggy sent a text to me yesterday that just said Kirk is clearly hampered. I believe that Michael Penix should be starting week 2.
Until Kirk Cousins gets healthy.
Until Kirk Cousins gets healthy. And Kenneth Walker did not practice Wednesday. I don't like that. Just an update popped up. Fantasy.
Because I'll tell you why, right? Kirk Cousins, Paul, you and I have seen a lot of the Kirk Cousins experience. What does Kirk Cousins do better than almost anyone in the NFL?
Throw the football, accuracy.
Play action.
I'm sorry.
Right, Kirk Cousins generates as much yardage on play action as anybody. And Kirk Cousins right now, he is physically incapable of doing it. Either the Falcons have the worst coaches in the history of football. They looked at Kirk Cousins' career, where he loves playing under center and loves play action, and said, we're not going to put him under center for a single snap. We're not going to run play action for a single snap. Or he's physically incapable of it. We know what the answer is. Kirk Cousins cannot turn his back to the line of scrimmage. He can't move. So you can't play him until he's healthy. It's that simple.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But if Kirk, he had to have been cleared, right? Are you doing this because you think he'll get injured again, or for the sake of Atlanta winning football games?
If Kirk Cousins cannot operate the full playbook, he can't play. You can't have him be your guy.
Do you think
Kirk Cousins clearly can't do the full playbook?
Do you think Michael Penix gives them a better chance to beat the Eagles than Kirk Cousins?
Michael Penix lets you run a single play action play. It lets you make it not clear just from your formation, whether you're passing or running. In the current NFL, you need motion, you need bootlegs, you need play action. And Kirk Cousins just can't do that.
Jack,
he's physically incapable.
Or not?
Well, could you imagine if the Falcons get crushed by Philly and then the Saints go into Dallas and win? It's like immediate flip on who's the NFC.
Or the Bucs beat the Lions. It's just madness in that division.
It's like, wait a minute, the Falcons are now probably
the Chiefs right after Atlanta. Atlanta's going to be 0-3 probably.
Yeah.
So who overreaction or not? Michael Penix should be playing this week instead of Kirk Cousins.
I think that's a bit of an overreaction.
I do too. I get what you're saying though.
I understand what you're saying too. This Pittsburgh defense is one of the best in football. You just gave Kirk that bag. Kirk's a good quarterback, and one bad outing against the Steelers, in which was an away game for them.
That was insane
in Atlanta.
Dude, your crowd is
I mean, they were calling they were going from the silent count on offense on their home field. Yeah. It's overreaction, but I understand where Ziggy's coming from though.
If Kirk has another really bad game against the Eagles now this week, maybe it comes into question. He's clearly hampered. But hey, also Drake London, can you show up, please? Jake, where the hell were you, Drake? 15 yards. Kyle Pitts had a touchdown. Where the hell are you? Bijan did everything for this offense, and I think that Atlanta needs their guys. One thing we learned is, hey, maybe being Justin Jefferson isn't the easiest thing in the world. Everyone thought Drake London was going to come in and have this crazy season because Justin Jefferson put up those numbers with Kirk. Maybe Justin Jefferson's really good at football. We got to see more from those Atlanta guys. But one thing to keep in mind here, Philadelphia gave up 163 yards on the ground to the Packers last week. To close out last season, 31st in the league, 8 straight games of 100-plus yard games. So in the second half of the year, 31st in the league. Final 7 regular season games, they averaged 145 allowed on the ground. There's a chance that Bijan could go off in this one, and I think they're going to lean heavily on him. So if Kirk can manage the game, not have turnovers, which he usually has those strip sacks, look for Bijan to have a big one tonight or on Sunday. All right, so we got a little bit of time here. Ziggy, you think you can blaze through Zig-or-Zag, or you want to just do game pick?
Oh, yeah. No, Zig-or-Zag. I can give it to you right quick.
All right,
3 picks back to back to back. I was 2-1 last week. So I did a little bit better on Zig-or-Zag.
I tailed the Tyreek touchdown. I took that -1.
Well done, Ziggy. Well done.
-1.
This show is so hot on anytime touchdowns. It's incredible. I do not have any for you this week.
You're mighty high. You know that?
But here are the 3 Zig-or-Zags. Here's number 1. Patriots plus 3.5. I know this is the worst spot in the world to pick the Patriots against the spread, but it's the home opener. They're playing a team that I don't think is all that good in the Seattle Seahawks. This is a great spot for the Patriots defense at Foxborough to put their foot down, for Jacoby Brissett to still show that he's a playable quarterback. Easy spot. Second one, Kirk Cousins under 222.6.5 passing yards. Sorry, Kirk. I don't believe in you. We just ran a whole segment about how I don't even think you should be starting. I think Kirk Cousins should have 0 passing yards this week. He'll have a little bit more than that because he'll be playing, but I don't think it's a whole lot. Third, this is a little bit unconventional. We're going away from offense and towards defense. Chris Jones over 0.75 sacks. Here's the thing. Joe Burrow is not particularly mobile. It's an early start to the season for the Bengals. Joe Burrow's always getting hit. You know the Chiefs are amped up for this. They want to start 2-0. They want to stick it to the Bengals. They're tired of this. And Chris Jones is a player who disappears from games that don't matter much. But when he's ready to play, when he's amped up, when this Chiefs team needs him, he is always in the backfield. He can go anywhere against the offensive line. I think that's an easy pick.
Did he have a week 1 sack?
Don't know, don't care.
Oh, yeah, he did. He had the fumble. He forced the fumble, didn't he?
Did that count as a sack?
I think it does. I believe so. I could be off on that.
Yeah, it counts as a sack. You're right.
All right. I like them all. I think they're all good.
I'm gonna zig all 3.
I think I'm zigging all 3 as well.
I like the Patriots pick. I think it's a good spot to prove that you might be better than a lot of people think. And week 1 wasn't a fluke.
And they are. They're not. People think they're really bad. They're just a little below average.
Yeah,
They're a tough team. Jacoby Brissett get the job done.
If I were to zag one, it would be Kirk Cousins. I'd say he goes over as a bounce back game. I do love the sack.
Not if you can't move.
Right. Yeah, but I like all 3. I like the sack and I like the Patriots.
All right. How about this? How about we go through some game picks here leading into the Jack Cap, and then I'll close out the week 2 preview show. So let's start here. Bills at Dolphins. The Dolphins are 2.5-point favorites.
Thursday Night Football, right? I like the Fins.
Fins up. This is the game that Miami always seems to lose.
It's okay. Roll with it.
All right. I'll go with you guys. I'll go with the Dolphins in this one. The Saints at the Cowboys. Cowboys a 6.5-point favorite.
Cowboys win and cover easily.
Yeah, Cowboys. All day.
I got the Cowboys too, but hey, prove us wrong, Saints. Buccaneers at Lions. Detroit a 7-point favorite.
I'd stay away from the points. I think Detroit wins the game outright though. 2-0.
I agree with Jack. I don't know how to feel about this. I think Baker can make it close. He's always best when the back's against the wall. But this Lions team will just out-talent them.
Lions win. Bucks cover.
All right.
The Browns at the Jaguars. Jacksonville 3.5-point favorite in Duval.
I'm going to take Jacksonville. This Browns team, I'm very low on them.
I am not picking Deshaun Watson for the rest of the season.
Same.
Man, I'm close. I'm close to going with Cleveland in this one. I'm gonna go Jacksonville though at home. Trevor Lawrence.
We just agreed, all of us, on the first few games.
That's 4 games in a row. All right, 49ers at Vikings. San Francisco a 6.5-point road favorite.
I got Minnesota. I got Minnesota outright. I got Sam Darnold.
This is disaster.
I got Sam Darnold showing Brock that he should have been the starter in San Francisco. Get out of here, Brock. Vikings.
You know, I'm gonna say this much is last year the San Francisco 49ers came to Minnesota as 6.5-point favorites. And what happened?
This is what I
Good night. I'll tell you, Sam Darnold knows this offense inside and out. He's sharing all the secrets with the Viking staff. Sam Darnold is going to outperform Brock Purdy because he's got the better weapons. He's got the better team. We've got the better defense. Minnesota all day.
Skull.
Yeah,
I'm going. I have to. I'm going with the Vikings.
Squad ride.
Plus, we're squad ride in 5 straight games. This is a bad parlay here. I mean, it's going to keep going here. Chargers 5.5-point road favorites against the Panthers. We're all bolts here, right? I'm assuming.
100%.
Ziggy, please tell me.
I don't think this Chargers team is all that good. But Derek Brown's out, and that means that if he were in, I would take the Panthers, but he's not, so I'm going to take the Chargers.
Disaster. 6 straight games.
All in agreement.
Vegas at Ravens. The Ravens 8.5-point home favorites.
Baltimore. I think Ravens bounced back pretty big.
Antonio Pierce made such bad decisions last week. Yeah, I got to take the Ravens.
God, we're on such a lame show. I'll just pick it. We're picking favorites, picking the teams we like.
We picked the Vikings.
We did. Seattle all right, here we go. Seattle at New England. Seattle a 3.5-point road favorite.
I mean, Seattle's flying across the country. This New England team's off a big win. I think they keep it going. I like Gerard Mayo. I think the guys like to play it for him. I got the Patriots.
I hate West Coast teams flying out to the East Coast for a 1 p.m. game. I hate it when they're not very good and they're playing a team with a brutal home field advantage, a suffocating defense that's coming off an enormous win, and that internally they're ready to play for their first-year head coach. The culture is completely different. How do you not take the Patriots here? They should be 3.5-point favorites.
Well, you know what? On the flip side of that, though, the Seattle offense didn't look good. It really didn't look that good against Denver. They made mistakes.
I mean, they beat Bo Nix,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean much.
Gosh, all right, I'll go New England too. I'll go New England as well. I want to take Seattle, but Kenneth Walker's a little banged up. We just saw, and this is not good. The Colts are 3.5-point favorites at Green Bay. Malik Willis at the helm for the Packers.
I got the Colts. I got AR in the Colts.
I cannot take Malik Willis to win an NFL.
Nor can
Give
I.
me the Colts.
Oh, all right, Colts as well.
Are we going to agree on every single?
We've never been this like before.
This is historic.
The Jets are 3.5-point favorites at the Titans.
I mean, I want to take Tennessee so bad. I just can't. I can't. I think the Jets win this game ugly and close. I'm gonna go with the Jets.
I want to take Tennessee so bad, but I think that the Jets, even though the Jets' run defense isn't good, Jordan Mason might not be much better than Tony Pollard. I don't think he's any better than Tony Pollard. I think he's worse. But the 49ers run scheme is so much better than what the Titans have cooked up. And their weapons and quarterback are so much better than the Titans. The Titans lost that game when the defense played that well. You are not going to have a similar performance against the Jets. Give me New York.
Yeah, I don't even know why you guys are saying I want to pick the Titans. They're fine.
Because I love the Titans. First team to ever support
and
this
Jack
show.
hates the Jets. I'm going with the Jets as well. I think they bounce back. The Giants are 1.5-point dogs at the Commanders. So Commanders 1.5-point favorites.
I love the Commanders. I won't pick the Giants all season either.
I'm going Commanders too. Ziggy, squad ride?
I'm going Commanders.
Okay. All right, we only have a few games left here. All right, Rams at the Cardinals. The Cardinals a 1.5-point favorite.
Well, this is where it's going to end because I know Ziggy will take the Cardinals. I think Matt Stafford and the Rams go in there and beat Arizona.
Honestly, the more I've been thinking about this game all day. How do the Cardinals stop Cooper Kupp? How do they stop the Rams when they finally decide to run the ball a little bit? How do they, the Rams defense might not be elite, but I think it's good enough here. The Rams, Sean McVay owns the Cardinals. That's just true. So I think I'm going to have to take the Rams.
I'm with you on the Rams. So that's a 1.5-point row.
No.
I'm on the Rams. I like the Cardinals, but I think Stafford's the best in the NFC right now. Bengals at the Chiefs. Chiefs 5.5-point favorite. Are we all Chiefs?
Yeah.
I think Burrow's going to play better. The Bengals will look better.
Yep.
But that was my prove me right game.
Yeah.
But
they lose.
They're going to.
This is such a hard game to win if you're the
Bengals. We
Bengals.
are 3 games left. Steelers at Broncos. Steelers 2.5-point favorites. I love Steelers 2.5. I think that's a great bet.
Yeah, I
love that.
I think Pittsburgh was in there. Mauls
They're going
next.
TJ Watt's going to have a field day.
I think Knicks has poop in his pants by the second quarter.
Ziggy,
I think
what you got here?
Pittsburgh wins. Ziggy's taking Denver.
The thing is the Broncos don't have a running game. So there's nothing they can do. They're going to have to rely on Bo Nix to throw the ball 40 times again. And that is not going to work against the Steelers. No, I'm taking the Steelers.
Chaos. Bears at Texans. Texans 6.5-point favorites. I got Houston.
It's in Houston. Right? I'm going Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, and Atlanta at Philadelphia. Monday Night Football.
I mean, no, that's insane. That's insane.
Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite. I'm going Philly.
I want to take the Falcons just so we don't all agree, but this is a historic run.
Should someone just take Atlanta just because? I mean, no, Philly.
We don't lie on this show. It's got to be Philly.
Philly at home, Monday Night Football. Yes,
the closest one for me had to. Remember, right off the bat too, I was like Bills or Dolphins, and I'm like, yeah, I'll roll with you guys. We don't usually squad.
That's
insane.
Insane. That we're in agreement on everything.
You might be watching this show for the first time and think we are talking. So usually we don't agree on more than 1 or 2 games.
You can now go and put in a 16-leg parlay.
That's going to hit.
That's going to hit if you fade everyone. You could retire off of fading us on. It's a guarantee. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can actually say that. It's a great bet. All right, so that's amazing. All right, we got to get out of here, but not before Jack We'll try and keep this quick because we actually do have to get going.
This is mighty quick.
The Jack Cap of the week.
Yep. So 101 off a win last week. New Mexico State plus 22. This week, blah, blah.
I thought it was -22 when I saw the halftime score.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought.
Well done.
But so the other day I was teaching. I'm a teacher at a high school, and first day of school, teacher assistant. First day of school, we didn't do much. Teacher just threw on a movie. Honestly, the syllabus. They gave that, the syllabus.
Silly week.
Handed the syllabus. Threw on Shrek. We were watching Shrek as a class.
Nice.
Obviously, the kids loved it. Who doesn't like Shrek? And Shrek lives in the swamp.
Uh-oh.
He lives in the swamp. And that got me thinking right there. It's the swamp, baby. It's all about the swamp. This team isn't losing 2 out of 3 in the swamp to start the year. So I got the Florida Gators. Chomp, 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 baby. Florida.
I love that.
Plus 4.5 at home against Texas A&M. This A&M team stinks.
Oh, well,
F the Gators.
Give me those.
I don't want to hear it.
Florida Gators.
I mean, if Notre Dame is losing to Northern Illinois and we beat A&M, anyone could beat those guys.
A&M,
What's this?
they've won it. Florida's a 4.5-point home dog.
I mean,
A&M,
They do have
did-
Graham Mertz.
Emmitt
No.
Smith's going to be there. He's
They
Mr.
brought in a
Two-Bits for this
5-star
game.
Lagway, the new 5-star QB. Give me those
Hell of a pick, Jack.
Gators in the swamp.
Down to Gaines. All right. Well, there you have it. What a show. I thought that was pretty fun there with the power rankings. Prove me right, prove me wrong. Zigger, Zag, overreactions, Jack Cap of the week. Game picks going in 16 for 16. It will never happen again on this show.
0 for 16.
Just that, if we hit all of them, though.
We got to do
If
something.
we hit
to
all of them that time. I don't even know what. All right. Thanks, everyone who's tuned in. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, the best thing you could do is send this podcast, send this show over to a friend. Tell them you like it. Tell them to check it out. We'll be back with week 2 reactions. And then, the season rolls on. Here we are. We're going to wind up being in December saying how'd the season go by so quick. So make sure you enjoy it. Week 2 of the NFL season. We'll see you then.